was a good win. We started off slow defensively. Certainly had some mental errors there that they had a good game plan coming in, but we had some mental errors, some gap problems in the run, and then turned the tight end loose a couple times. We got it fixed after he got open one more time on us. We got it fixed, and then played pretty good defense the rest of the day. Offensively, we threw 7 touchdown passes, I think. Talon did a good job of avoiding pressures. Some of them were simple twist games that we had pressure on. Some of them where they brought one more than we could protect in our protection, who was hot. We've got to get better there. But I was proud that we were able to throw the ball to a lot of different people, get them involved. I think that's going to help us in the future with those guys getting some confidence. A lot of different kids scored touchdowns. I was glad to see all of them. I was happy to see C.J. Brown score a couple touchdowns after his hardship that he's gone through. So that was really cool to see there. It was great to see Starsick come in and kick a 53-yard field goal on his first kick as a Razorback, and I thought our special teams played well. And so I'll answer any questions you have.
Yeah, Coach, just your overall assessment of what Talon was able to do. Had to do some things with his legs also today.
Yeah, I mean, one, we were turnover free. That's big. So he took care of the football. He was smart throwing and running. Once he got out, understood where first downs were, whether he needed to throw or he could run to get it. I thought he had good command over the huddle and over the offense all day, and he distributed the ball to several different people. So came out, I think, healthy, and so I was really pleased with his game, and we just got to protect him. We got to continue to work. We knew they were going to blitz the heck out of us, and they did, but we've got to get better protecting him as well.
Just the second team offense scored on the first team defense on the first drive both times, and then they shut them down. And then you kind of had a similar deal here. Is that a worry that it maybe takes them a little bit to get warmed up or something?
Well, it's one game. I was more concerned about the missed assignments, that we were having. That wasn't necessarily the case in the scrimmages, you know what I mean? So I think if we don't miss the assignments, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape, but we did. And so therefore we got in trouble on that first drive. Was nasty. It was terrible. And but after that, for the most part, they came back. But we'll address that and go exactly why they went down the field and scored on us. But in my mind right now, it's about mental errors.
When the defense did kind of lock in after that first drive, what did you see from them specifically, maybe on the back end where you got some new guys at corner? I mean, were you pleased with maybe how the secondary performed today?
Yeah, yes. After the first drive, I wasn't. I mean, I don't think anybody was. But after the first drive, I think that we changed up our coverages some, and I think we covered them tighter. There was some non-contested balls early, and then after that, I think almost every ball that was thrown was a contested ball, and I do think the guys who came up and were physical back there as well. So a lot of new guys back there. So hopefully that's out of the system, and that we're rolling.
You mentioned the different targets for Talon, going to a bunch of different receivers. Is that something you are wanting to see from him, or do you want that to come naturally? Like, how much you talk about trying to spread it around right now?
Well, Bobby would be the one that could answer that more than me, to be perfectly honest with you. But he has his first read, his second read, his third read, depending on, and Bobby has his reasoning for calling a play, whether it be because what he can see, what he knows is going to come open, or he wants to specifically target a guy. So, but I was just happy that a bunch of guys got involved, and I'm sure it does make them want to practice more and more and harder and know they're going to get the football.
But you thought of O-line play and the run game in particular?
Yeah, we talked about it at halftime. I think we had about 100 yards or something like that rushing at half, maybe 90 something. It was right at 100. And we talked about wanting to be able to run the ball more. Again, I've spoke on our protection. I think we got to get better, especially on the games, twist games. But I think, I don't know what we ended up rushing the ball, but the bottom line is when you're playing a zero team, you want to try to run the football, but a lot of times you'll run into numbers. You know, you're trying to run away from the blitz, but they double-edged us quite a little bit tonight. And so you throw it if that's the case. You know, it's a little bit different. You know, I remember Western Kentucky 2 years ago, and or West Carolina, excuse me, and we scored a bunch of points, but we could not run it. You know, it's a different deal to me tonight. I'm not worried about us being able to run the ball.
One of the things Bobby Petrino mentioned to us was yards after catch had to be more, and it looked like you got a lot of yards after catch today. Can you talk on that?
Yeah, we really did, and you know, I think Blake was really good at. C.J. Brown, you know, did a good job breaking a tackle on his first touchdown, and Monte Harrison did a really good job. But I think from when you're talking about what Bobby said, I think that's one of the things we did really well was yard after catch.
In particular, you mentioned with the yards after catch. I know he came in with the big numbers from last season, but is that about what you expected from him? And do you think he can kind of sustain that as you get more to the heart of your schedule?
I don't know. I mean, 7 balls for what did he end up having? 7 balls for 121. I don't know if you can sustain that. You know, I'd like for him to.
Yards after catch in particular.
Yeah, I mean, he played extremely hard. We went in there and got us a first down when it looked like he could have been short. You know, Talon did too. You know, jumped over there and made a first down. But Omega's a tough guy, you know, and he likes to play football. And so did I want him to do that? Yes. Did I know he could do that? Yes. So if that's the case, yes, we'll expect it every week.
With CJ, just what does it say about him that he's been able to persevere with, you know, like you said, the hardship that he's been going through, and how have you guys kind of helped him with that?
Well, you probably, I mean, I hate to divert questions, but you probably ought to ask him about the help, you know. But he has a strong faith, and his family is such great people. They helped him through all this, and hopefully we did too. We sure did try. And he told me, he said, that was for my daddy on the first one, and then I went and grabbed him on the second, and he said that one was too, you know. So, man, it was a great moment, yeah.
Did you kind of have a target score in mind where if you were up by so much that would allow you to put KJ in?
No.
His limited time, you know, he had that touchdown pass to Washington. Just what'd you think of him?
Yeah, I thought he did a good job. I mean, I think his first drive in there, we went down and scored, you know, and then the second one, I don't know, I can't remember what happened. I think we ended up having a couple of incompletions on it, didn't run it well on first down. But yeah, I thought he played well. I mean, first drive of the year, he takes us down there and scores and throws a touchdown pass.
He and also Talon Green weren't afraid to take a hit. I guess, are you wanting them to be a little bit more conservative, or just kind of cut them?
I want them to play football.
Sam, Mike Washington in that third quarter drive, getting outside on the left end, 30-yard run, and then the 27-yard catch and run on the sideline. He was explosive in the scrimmages. Is he going to have a bigger workload moving forward? You had a balanced attack today.
We've got 3 good backs, you know, so we think Mike's number 1 in that rotation. We didn't get him in early in the second half. Played Rodney and played Braylon. Of course, we're scoring, you know. We got him in there that last drive when we put KJ in there. But No, I mean, I think if there was a ton of difference between 1, 2, and 3, we would probably want him to have more carries. But we just want him to be fresh and have success when he's in there. But we probably would play him normally more in the third quarter than what we did today.
On the field goal, I know that's been a point of emphasis. You guys were at a 43-yard field goal coming up. Taylor takes a 10-yard sack. What happened there? And then talk about Starzyk nail. I mean, he right down the middle with room to spare.
We can't take a sack there. I mean, you know, we're in easy. Well, I don't know if there's ever easy, but we're in great shape to kick a field goal at that point. And Taylor knows that, and obviously you have to protect better, but he got to get rid of that ball. We can't take a sack there. But once I saw where it was on the 35, and you know, in our meeting before the game, you know, Scott takes him out there to kick. He said 36 both ways. So I'm not the brightest guy, but 35 is less than 36. So right when I saw it, I said, okay, field goal, and we nailed it. You know, so we can't take a sack there. We've got to get rid of the football. We've got to protect it better as well. And but when I found out I was on 35, that was a no-brainer for me because I got a lot of confidence in him.
Was Justice, did he play?
Justice Bone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He
Listed
didn't
him as a
start
starter.
for us, yeah, but he played quite a bit, yeah.
Week of still trying to finalize who was going to start for you?
Yeah, well, Charlie had a really good week, you know, so we got to reward the guys that practiced well, and Charlie had a really good week, and so we knew that we were going to rotate those guys, but we felt like Charlie had earned the right to start for us.
Defensive side of the ball, a lot of emphasis on sacks and turnovers in camp. Just how good did it feel to maybe get one of each in the second half,
Well,
and specifically for Quincy?
It did, and it changes the game because I believe one of them, I don't know if it was a sack or just jailbreak, you know, where we went in there and got the fumble as well. But we've got to continue to do more of that. No, that's not true. The first sack was we had a third down package guys on there, which worked. You know, because Sorey was at defensive end, but yeah, it's nice to get one apiece. We need to get more.
You got 3 different venues coming up in the next 3 weeks, starting in Little Rock with Arkansas State. Just your thoughts on maybe how you think this game prepared you guys to move forward here.
Well, I think it would build some confidence in a lot of kids, and you know, just like the first thing I talked to Sorey, I said, hey, man, you played a good game. He said, I got a lot of work to do. So I think we've got a whole lot of kids in there that think we've got to get better here, you know, this next week. And playing Arkansas State, no disrespect to Alabama A&M at all, but it's easier to get up, you know, it's a state, you know, game. It's not a rivalry. We've never played it. But I think it'll be easier for our guys to have a really good practice. We can coach them hard and all that. And I expect these next 3 weeks, you know, if you look at it as A-State, it's Ole Miss and Memphis on the road. I think they all have different motivational things to them, and I'm sure that we'll be ready to play.
I saw something today I'd never seen. It was that kickoff at the end of the half. I know you're trying to worm burn it way down there, but have you ever seen anything like that? And he probably didn't even know he couldn't advance it. I mean, do you practice that?
We don't practice hitting him, you know, but when I was in the Rose Bowl, we were just trying to squib it down. We just scored, and we were trying to squib it down there right before half and hit one of their guys. And then we had more time than 4 seconds, but it was maybe 11. And we threw a little out route, and the kicker at Georgia went in and made the field goal right before the half, and we ended up winning in overtime. So I'm sure it mattered, but that's the only other time I've been involved in where it hit the front line guy.
Coach, touching back on Taylon's performance, he came in and put up seemingly video game numbers with what many consider to be an unproven receiver core. What can you say about how the receivers performed today?
Yeah, to be honest with you, they kind of performed like they have in practice, you know, especially the last 2 to 3 weeks. They've really been picking balls out of the air. And you don't really know the yak yards and the run after catch in practice because, you're not tackling them. So it was fun to see that part of it. But, Talon, he never gets credit for much of anything, so thank you for saying that. But I think the wideouts were very, very pleasing on what they did, and I think they're tough, and that really makes me fired up.
When we spoke to you earlier this week, it's an opportunity to see maybe guys that are better in a game maybe than practice. And Shakur, physical in the run game. Is he a guy like that? And how impressed are you with his performance today?
Well, he came up, several times. A really good tackler out there. I think, you look at Omega Blake as one of those guys as well. Caleb Wooden, I saw him make some good things happen tonight. So, yeah, and then once I watch the tape, maybe Monday I'll have even a better answer for you. But Small stood out, like you said, because he was, coming up there and laying it to him, pretty good.
Coach, appreciate you.
All right, guys, appreciate it.